Hi there, Living Light family. I hope you're all doing really well. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. I'm grateful you're here. To my existing subscribers, thank you for your patience. Thank you as I process the messages I receive. I'm not a minister. I don't go to any church because I believe, from what I've read in the Bible, and I haven't read that much, when I use the Bible, I pick it up in the morning, I put my hands on it, I say, God, show me what I need to see today. And then I open the Bible, and whatever scripture my eyes are drawn to, or chapter, that's what I read, that's what I ponder on, that's what I think about. Sometimes I share scriptures on my channel that I've read that might help somebody else who could be dealing with the same sort of issues. Today it came to me that Jesus led his disciples and his friends and the people that he met. He led them with his heart. And I've listened to a lot of YouTubers and ministers and ministries, and they're all great. I enjoy them. I support them. I watch their videos. I leave comments. I keep them in my prayers because we're all learning and we're all teachers. And Jesus said we would do greater works than what he could ever do. Jesus, when he was walking around, when he was alive, like in the physical form, and even after death, and when he was resurrected, there's one thing that he never did. He never walked around with a Bible in his hand. And that was one thing that I noticed that nobody spoke about. And this came to me this afternoon. He said to me, I didn't have a book. I just listened to the people and gave them the information they were looking for at that time, at that encounter. I've dealt with a lot of spiritual warfare. I didn't know how to protect myself. I only just really started learning last year how to protect myself, how to get more knowledge, who to ask into my heart, into my vessel. And we have access to all the greats from before because they're within us. I never studied any symbology, or really anything like that. I read the Tibetan books of the dead, but that was so far long ago that, I've lost all my books since then, and I held on to a lot of grudge towards the person that got rid of all my books. And it's taken me a long time to forgive. And really, forgiveness really is the best thing. It's not for them, it's for you, because we can hold on to our disgrace or disgust or our anger. And it only affects us, really. They don't care because they're not a part of our lives. And we already know how the people in our lives treat us. And they just don't care. They go on with their lives like, it's just another day for them. Meanwhile, we care. We have love in our hearts for a lot of people. Family, friends, our children. We have a lot of love. We have a lot of forgiveness and compassion. Does it hurt when we're rejected? Of course it hurts when we're rejected. We can either wallow in it, fixate on it, or focus on Jesus, because He will always comfort you in your time of need. The only thing my channel, when I started it, was to heal myself. And I'm extremely grateful that my experiences in life and how I overcame them helped other people. And that is the best gift in the world that I could ever receive. Earlier on this evening, I was listening to another fellow who I care deeply for. And he is struggling. And I get many requests from other people that are struggling financially. I believe there's so much struggle financially in the world, and everybody's focused on making money. And we don't even realize at some points how our words, our thoughts, and emotions actually push the finances further and further and further and further away from our reality. To me, this is telling me this is a test on our faith. How much faith do we have in God, really? So maybe this is a test for you, whoever's listening, if you're even dealing with financial struggles. But like I said, there are many people out there, and it's disgusting the amount of people that are struggling, and there's absolutely no need for it, especially when there isn't overabundance of food. And a lot of it just does go to waste. It goes to the dump, or it goes, half of the food that they're making, and I say making because it's genetically modified food, is being put to other resources because it rarely ever goes bad, and we're being forced to consume this stuff. If you choose, or if you have no choice but to consume genetically modified food, then, it has an effect on your health and your well-being and your emotional and spiritual state. Then you look at the clothing that we're wearing, that's being produced, that we purchase, we buy, and we wear, It's full of polyester and nylon and spandex and full of chemicals. And then the clothes we wear and the chemicals we're wearing affects men's and women's reproductive organs, our genetics. It affects women's periods. It affects men's sperm production. I know this may sound weird, but growing up, we always had underpants, and for men they had, they called them gaunch or boxers or briefs. And I noticed that men and women wear a lot of clothing, and I did too when I was a kid, younger, super tight clothing. And that also affects for women, our reproductive organs, our uterus and all that stuff. It affects our drainage, our natural drainage in our body, because the clothes we're wearing are so tight that the blood flow doesn't flow right, so that it affects your feet, it affects your joints, it affects your breasts, because women wear bras, and bras are super constrictive, and it's really hard on our breasts and our blood flow, and I just think, this is just my thoughts. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not registered anything. I'm just a person with thoughts going through my mind. That for women to look at the clothes that you're wearing and the underwear that you're wearing, what are they made out of? Do your research and see what kind of chemicals go into making your undergarments. And then your bras, whether or not they have a wire bras, what do you call those? I don't know. Wire, you know what I mean. Bras with wire in them. Look at the material they're made out of. And I myself, I'm guilty of sleeping with my bra on. I'm an older woman. I've had kids, and when you have kids, your boobs tend to go south. Gravity. Especially if you breastfed or if you've got bigger boobs. Like, I don't have bigger boobs anymore. I used to, but I know there's a lot of busty women out there that struggle with pains in their shoulders from their bras and carrying the extra weight of having bigger breasts. They have sore backs. So this is just a thought, an experiment, if you want to try it out, especially when you're going to bed at night. Also the sheets that we sleep on. We're wearing chemicals, we're eating chemicals, and we're sleeping in chemicals. And the soap, shampoos, conditioners, and body soaps we're using are full of chemicals. The makeup's full of chemicals. The hair dyes are full of chemicals. The nails, they're all full of chemicals. And all these chemicals have an effect on your endocrine, I don't know if that's the right word, system, and your lymph nodes, and your drain, everything, your blood. Our skin absorbs all those chemicals. So maybe try it out for yourself. Find some natural products. Maybe you have a friend that makes natural soaps or natural shampoos in your area. Find somebody local. And I'm not saying stop supporting the people that if you're already buying naturally made soaps and buying clothes and stuff. But focus on 100-kilometer radius where you're at. Check out to see if there's any farm stands in the area. I think I did a video on this several years ago. But it's good to bring it up again. Focus on buying your clothing, your food from a more natural supplier, not Cisco, not Amazon, an actual farm. And I'm sure wherever you live, especially I have a lot of Americans and a few people from China and a few people from Canada and a couple from the UK that are on the channel. If you focus on shopping within a 100-kilometer radius and supporting local as much as you can, find some clothing that are made from natural fibers and just see if you notice a difference in the way you're feeling. And maybe at night when you're going to sleep, try sleeping without your bra and panties and just put on a nightie or a pajamas set, I guess. I don't know what you call it. Or sleep naked. And just see how you feel. Try it for a few nights. If you're not used to sleeping without bedclothes on or your bra or undergarments, it may feel strange to you to do that. I find it very helpful having a bath before going to bed, a spiritual bath. I pray while I'm in the bathtub as well. And when I go to bed and go to sleep, before I go to sleep, I put on the armor of God and the armor of light, and I ask God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit to come into my vessel. I ask the angels to watch over me while I sleep. And I haven't had any intrusive dreams or weird dreams lately. So maybe that would help. Figure out what you're eating, wearing, and putting on your body that could be possibly affecting your reproductive system. And for men, same thing. Stop wearing tight clothes, tight undergarments, and what are you putting in your body, on your body, and sleeping in, like your sheets and pillows and all that stuff. Blankets. I'm thinking to myself as I'm speaking to you, like, I'm going to end up throwing out everything I own that isn't made of natural fibers. I do a lot of canning. I eat a lot of good food. I don't eat very much processed food. But I live pretty isolated. Every once in a while I'll go and I'll buy a burger from the local restaurant. But most of the time I just stay home. I cook my meals. I work on my house. I have my dog. I work on my goals. I work on my projects. Fixing my house. And just a lot of prayer, a lot of thoughts, good thoughts, as I keep the people I care about in my prayers, in my thoughts. And pray for your enemies. Always pray for your enemies, because it keeps them away when you pray for them. And it keeps them blessed. And God gives us grace when we do that. And if you haven't turned to Jesus yet, I encourage you to do so, because He is the way, He is the door, He is the bridge, He is the light, He is the spark that lives inside you. And I know your life will change the minute you accept Him into your heart. Ask Him for forgiveness for any sins you may have done, and stop sinning. For the men out there, stop being predators towards women, because we weren't just put here for your pleasure and for your pain infliction. We're not here to be slaves to your sexual desires or anything like that. And I can only speak for myself, but I know at least, I'd say a good 1,000 women that have had enough. And God help you if they turn and go from nice to not so nice. So I'm going to end this recording. It's going to only be a black screen, so you can listen to it. I haven't stumbled too much, so I don't even have to edit it. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. If you resonated with this or are going through anything I'm even talking about, please let me know in the comments, so that I don't feel like I'm wasting your time. Have a wonderful day. God bless you always and forever. May your heart be full. May you always find joy. And may you always, always know that you are loved. You are never alone. And your angels walk with you always. God bless you always and forever.